And welcome back to Career Build Series, episode 169. And so it's going to be a bunch of building here, I think. I really need to get some equipment ready for the new Industrial Frontiers expansion. And so there's a lot of work to be done there, and that's really good. It re-energizes me, gets me interested in building some new stuff. So be a bunch of building. Once we get Industrial Frontiers out on October 13th, 22, then there'll be a lot of missions and doing the mining. So it's going to be kind of a build fest going up into this. And I think that's the best way to do that. That really gets us to the point where we have the equipment we need, and hopefully I can get some stuff done and share it with you guys so that you can utilize some of the builds when the DLC comes out for yourselves. So let's go ahead and get started here. And so the excavator is pretty much done. I'm just going to spawn it really quick so you can see it. That's been the main focus. Other things I've been working on. But so this is pretty much done. A little bit of like graphic issues and maybe some stuff like that. But it is pretty much complete, functional. The next thing that will happen on this is I will convert this to a quick connect and put the real drill on when that is released. So I need to wait for that to be released. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start a front end loader. And so I have plenty of trucks, like for example, let's find my mining truck. Like here's my mining truck based off of an IRL mining truck. This one holds coal. I was using this for coal. This will fit in the tunnel that goes up to the coal mountain. And so, this is certainly not finished, but again, this is the fundamentals working. I also have things like the the Mac R dump truck. So as long as we can lift up into the back of this, this can haul as well. So I think kind of the natural progression here is to build a front end loader. And so I'm going to kind of look at some inspiration like I did last time. And try to get some inspiration for what I want to build. I kind of like some of the square looking loaders like this. I've driven, like tractor based front end loaders before. I'm trying to think of the model number. John Deere 310D, I believe. One of the things that is going to need to happen is it's going to need to be, I want it scaled so that I can transpo it on that trailer, on my low loader trailer, transpo it potentially on Triton. But I need it large enough that, and I'll show you why. Let me talk about the size requirements for this. So if we look at, let's really quickly go back to the Mac R dump truck. So if we look at it, so the front end loader comes in from the side generally on a dump truck, and it will pour into the back like this from the side. And so that's one of the reasons you have this part here is if you accidentally dropped a rock on top, it protects the cab so you don't crush the driver. So I'm trying to get some dimensions here. So somewhere in the neighborhood of 17 wide for the bucket. So I'm going to make some notes. So the bucket is going to be the really complex issue. And so the bucket needs to be, I'd say, about 17 wide. I also want to make a quick coupler for this. So let's bring in the mining. So like if we look at the mining truck, it has a larger capacity. It's wider, so that's 24 wide. So the bucket is going to be kind of the integral part, and it's going to be difficult to make, or challenging to make. Let's put it that way, and I'll show you why. So let's look at hoppers. Currently, they're coal hoppers. And so the way I would like these to work is, and I don't know if they're going to change these or not. I kind of hinted this is something I would like is, so there's a thought on how to make these work. Currently, the way you dump one of these is you have to put a funnel on them, and you trigger the funnel. And what I'll often do is put a tilt sensor, so when it tilts enough, it automatically dumps the funnel. And so one of the thoughts you could do is this, where you, so essentially the bucket is you're going to release the ore onto the ground, and then you would scrape the ground with these, and then in order to tip it, you would have to, let me see, I'm trying to find the duct in here. Where's the small one? Okay, what's a medium look like? So like you take that like so, and then a funnel. And so it kind of ruins the looks. One thing I wish the devs would do is make it so that when you tip these upside down, you can trigger these to have the coal fall out of the top. That would be much more realistic. But so it'd be something like this. And so that's about probably the best I can get it to look. You lose a bunch of capacity. But you know, if I black these out, it shouldn't look too bad. And so you'd have something like, oh, I'm trying to kind of figure out how I would want this. Let's go like this. So I'm trying to kind of conceptualize this. So I kind of want, you know, the physicalized ore actually rolls pretty well. They're circular, so they roll. So this could work where as you're scraping, this is just pushing it to the sides and into the ones you want to. And then when you tip it, you would have it activate the funnel. So that's kind of the thought process in the bucket. Let's get a measurement on here. So that right there is 15. So see, that's about as wide as we can go. Let's spawn this really quick and see the capacities. So again, I would love it if the devs would make it so that if you tip these hoppers upside down, you could trigger them to have it fall out of the top. That would be make it so that what I could do then is I could have all three across like so. And then you would have three hoppers there. And so you wouldn't have to have a funnel in the middle, but you know, it's not the end of the world. So right there, that's three. That's actually not a bad capacity. That's 375 coal in there total. You know, you add them together. So like if we look over here, so I think that's 375 total. I think the duct holds some too. Yeah, so actually that's not bad. So this is kind of our bucket width, I think. This is what we're working with, and that's kind of the design I'm going with. So let's actually just start building this up, and I think we're in good shape here. So yeah, so I want to kind of see how to, so you know, one of the things that kind of annoys me a little is like visually, I don't like this here. You know, again, a lot of this we're going to figure out once we actually get the parts in. So one thought I had is, actually, I think I should be able to fix this. Let's go wedge. So again, a lot of this is conceptualizing how is this going to work in game. So this actually will probably work. If I drag that across like that, when I put this on the ground and drag it, I should be able to go the flat side of the wedge and then have this scoop up the ore. This is going to hopefully push some of the ore to the side. I might leave a, you know, as it piles up, it should filter into the two hoppers. That's probably going to work all right. So let's kind of continue building the bucket. And so let's, I'll bring back up the pictures here, and we'll kind of look at some buckets and the facets. And I have a little experience driving. Let me see if I can find the loader that I drove. Was it 310D? This was, 20 years ago, something like that. Yeah, I used to work for community college. I enjoyed that, doing facilities maintenance when I was a kid. And so this is the loader that I drove. You know, so it's definitely, it's not an articulated loader, but it's you know, so I have some experience with this. So you know, this is the, you know, that's just some bucket design there to kind of look at. You know, some of the mechanisms on this are pretty cool. So like here, if you look at this one picture, you can kind of see, is it going to open up weird nonsense? It will. It's Shutterstock. But so here, actually, you can see a couple pictures. So this has kind of that same articulation as the excavator does. This one here, so what this does is you have your you have a pivot here, you have a lever arm, and you have a lever arm that connects to the bucket. So as you push on this one, it rotates and then pushes the bucket. You can see that over here as well. So looking at the bucket design here, I'm kind of just getting shapes. Kind of just looking for some inspiration, looking for some shapes, and then we'll go back and check out, continue building here. So again, starting with the bucket, I think is the right way to do it. They're not really shapely on the sides; they're very flat. Again, it's an industrial piece of equipment. It doesn't need to be pretty, essentially. So I'm just trying to get the shape right. The bottom's a little weird because it's actually usually the opposite. You kind of have it thinned out at the bottom, but the issue again is I need these coal hoppers, which will be ore hoppers later, to touch the ground. And so what I need to do is kind of change the shape of this bucket a little bit. And so that's kind of a pain, is I'm having to redesign the shape of this to kind of fit for what we're doing. So what I could do here is, let's try this. Again, a lot of this stuff could change once the update comes out and, I realize, oh, this isn't going to work or that, which is fine. That's kind of the iterative process. Actually, let's see. So I'll do a test as well. I'll drop coal in the ground. The problem is right now the coal doesn't last very long. The coal, after a short period of time, it actually disappears. My assumption would be that they're going to change that disappearance time. I think they're going to have to, because you're going to be drilling the ore, and coal's getting an update on how it functions as well, and then you have to be able to get out and potentially switch vehicles and then go get it. So I think it's going to hang around longer, would be my assumption. That's actually looking pretty good. That's a pretty good angle. Just trying to get the angles right here. And then often, well, let's see, can I go down one? No. That's fine. And then what I'll do here is, so yeah, one of the issues with the duct is I don't like these circles, so I like to cover them. So this is definitely kind of informing. And then often what they'll do is, if we look back at the pictures here again, there are lips on the top. Like you can see on the top of all these buckets, there's lips. And the lips there so that as you scoop into a pile, you don't have it coming over and covering your bucket. It's not the end of the world, but you could have rocks come over the top, hit your hydraulic lines or your hydraulic actuator, dent that, damage parts. So you kind of want that lip here. You see another lip right here to protect the top of the bucket. So putting this sort of thing in there, utilizing these pictures of IRL stuff really helps you get it to look right, essentially. So let's see. So we need to probably start with a line here, and then I think how I want to lip this. So probably just do, I don't want to over, maybe like that. Yeah. I don't want to go overboard with, I don't want to make the bucket too large, because the larger the bucket gets, the larger I feel I need to get the, actual loader. And I don't want to have an enormous loader. So that's a good shape there. So let's drag that across. So I'm just kind of playing with shapes, getting this done. And then I should hopefully be able to kind of button this up. Yeah, so I'm liking, what happened there? Why didn't that drag across? There we go. Okay, so I'm liking this bucket design. So definitely I think it was the right idea. Start with the bucket. Bucket looks good. Bucket looks good. Bucket looks functional. That's what we want. Now we have this functional bucket. We can easily cut in here and put attachment points, say there. All right, so we have the bucket. So let's go ahead. I'm actually going to save this as loader bucket. So what's going to happen with this loader bucket is I can very easily anywhere in here, which I'll probably just do it right here. Let's stick this in here. So I'll put, I put a tilt sensor, and this tilt sensor would face forwards. And what you do is you make it so that once it tilts at a certain angle, so once it tilts like 45 degrees down, you trigger the funnel and then all the ore will pour out. So that way, instead of me having to press a button to trigger the ore, all I do is naturally tip my bucket, and then I'm in good shape there. All right, so let's save this again, loader bucket. Okay, and let's start a new vehicle. I'll actually just save this up, loader. All right, so now one of the things is, one of my favorite loaders of all time is Kurovets 701. Is a really cool, let me see, Kurovets 701 loader. Just put in loader, it'll kind of limit it to the loaders. So the Kurovets is a Soviet loader. It's really cool. They actually have farm tractor versions. Like this is from Farming Sim. This is a farm tractor. Don't take me to the site. Just do open image. Of course, it's a small image. So if you look, essentially all it's doing is you take the tractor and you drive it backwards, and then you put a loader bucket on it. So it's kind of cool. It's very old school. Yeah, I'm trying to find a good picture of the loader that, so it's kind of a, Soviet era, burly, beefy, very square. The issues I would have is making these very thin, rounded fenders. I think they're, like, see, some versions don't have much fender. Like this one, as you can see, has no fender in the front. Things like that I have to be concerned about building is the fenders. So one thought is like a Kurovets, loader. One of the benefits of doing this is it's very square, which makes it a little bit easier. It's super cool looking, man. It's very square and Soviet and beefy. Like, just look at that thing. That thing's cool. So that's one thought. The other thought is to run either a cat with my Pat brand. I like the Volvos. I like these John Deeres. The shape's not too bad. Most of these are squared off. I'll probably do no fenders. Like, see, like you have some with no fenders. It's just going to be a lot easier than doing fenders. And so I'm trying to. So one thing let me figure is, like I was talking about before with the excavator, is it's important to get the scale correct. And so a big part of scaling correctly, something looking right, is getting the scale right. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to find a model. Like this 950 is probably right. What's this deer? So I'm trying to find model numbers that are essentially will hold a bucket of the width that I just made. So I think that Cat 950 is probably about right. What's this John Deere here? Do we have a? So that's a 3¼ yard bucket. That's about the bucket size. Like that John Deere 310D that I showed you that I used to drive, that had a 1 yard bucket. The buckets, at least in the U.S., are measured in yards. I would say they're some metric cube. Probably in the rest of the world, but we tend to do yards. And so the standard loader size that I'm looking for usually have a little bit around 3 yard buckets. And so that's about where I'm looking at right now. So we have a cat wheel loader here. That one's probably too large. So I'm just trying to get a model number, and that way I can get some specifications. Because, you want to make it proportionally correct. All right, so let's do the Cat 950. So I'm going to look up the Cat 950. Alright, Cat 950 wheel loader. So bucket capacities, here we go. So these are meter cubed, converts out to yards. So 3.75 to 5.75 yard buckets. That's about what we're looking for. Yeah, this is the right size. I can tell by the cab size this is about right. Let me see, what are we looking at here? Trying to dimensions. There we go. See, these are the type of websites that are really awesome for the game. So we have height to exhaust pipe. I need essentially width, height, and length. So let's go wheelbase. Does it have a, I'm trying to see. So wheelbase is actually pretty close, but then we have the back on there. So I'm trying to see if it had essentially bucket to rear bumper. So let's see. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to quickly just kind of draw, a box and some wheels on it and a cab. And then I'm just going to write all this down so I don't have to reference it constantly. So like wheelbase is from center of one wheel to the center of the next wheel, 10.83 feet. And then I want height to the exhaust pipe, I think is, let me see, is that about the cab height? Yeah, see that comes up to about the height of the cab. That's generally they'll put what the highest point is, so the exhaust pipe is actually probably a hair higher than the cab. So that's 11.17. So 11.17, that sounds right as well. I need width. Am I missing the width? Center of rear axle to edge of counterweight. Okay, so this is important. So that gives me the rest of the length. That's from the center of the rear wheel all the way back to the bumper is 6.75, so I can add that to the 10. So we're talking, what's that, 11, 18.75, let's say there, 18.75 feet total length. And it's not showing me a width. So a little bit of height there, differential. All right, so it doesn't really show the width. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it widthwise to the bucket. And we'll see how that does for us. That might make it a little wonky. It might make it work. So let's go ahead and let me, the bucket, I think it ended up being 17. So let's go ahead and load up the bucket, and let's see what the final width turned up. That's not going to drag, will it? So this is 17. Okay, so 17 wide. So we're gonna set the width of the loader to 17 wide essentially. Okay, so let's go ahead and start doing some dimensions here. So we want that to be 17 wide. All right, so 17 is our width. So I'm gonna go one wider than that, and then do some quick conversions here. Feet to meters. And so we're talking, let's say 19 feet long. So about, let's say 6 meters long. So right there is 6 meters long. That seems like it's going to be short for in-game, but we'll see. So that's kind of, seems short. I bet that doesn't include the arm. Yeah, that doesn't include the arm because, again, I'll drag up the images really quick here. So that's going from wheel to wheel. The arm is sticking past that. So this is we're gonna build the actual cab, and then I'll build the arm on the front of the cab. So that's kind of where we're at there, I think. All right, so this is kind of the footprint of where this is going. All right, so let's start to kind of conceptualize this and get this going. So what I'm going to do here is I'll change the color of my blocks and I'll start building. So we have the center line. And then I want this to be an articulating tractor. And so let's figure out wheel size. So I kind of need to proportionally do the wheels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here. And we'll go, how many is that? In 3N, 3N. All right. And so I'm trying to get the wheels kind of done here. So it needs to fit within this, or ideally fit within this box. So putting the wheels in now will help. Let's try with 7s. 7s aren't bad because see this is the thing too. Let's go to 9s. Let me show you something. So 7s, let's say you put in 7s, right? And you drag a 7 to max radius. Okay, then you take a 9, you put a 9 in here, and you drag a 9 to minimum radius. See how close they are? So you can run 9s at at the lowest radius, and it's very close to a 7. So I tend to upsize, and I'll drag the tire radius down. And then, so I'm going to just do tire radiuses down for now, and then we can play with it. So we kind of have the tires in there. So I want them in at least I want them in at least one block. I want it to not be too wide. So let's cut this, and let's get this within our block here. So that right there gets us it within our block. Okay, cut this, and we'll move that within our block. I know the back's out. I need to fix the backs. Alright, so let's just merge these up. Alright, and so I need to move these backs in one. Alright, so that kind of gets us our wheels. I'm doing no fairings on these wheels. Alright, so there we go. We kind of have our wheel base set up here. Alright, so let's keep building here. So these are going to get split. This is going to get turned into an articulating tractor. And so one of the elements that's going to be important here is, so let's start deframing this a little bit. I have my frame in here. I just want to get rid of. Okay, so there's the frame gone. And I'm going to split the frame out. And what I'm going to use is a hinge, I think. And then what I'll do is, yeah, so let's use a hinge. Let's not do that. Let's put the hinge on the side for now. And so let's look at our hinges. So we have this number, current rotation, electric, and power. We want to make sure it has power. See, like this one doesn't have any power. We want the power to go through so I can send the energy from the engine through the torque connection and have it go out to the front because it's going to be all-wheel drive. And so here's going to be our hinge. Let's see. Let me find the center block. I think that's it there, but I don't want to guess. I kind of want to be accurate here. So that is 18. Of course, it's even. And I want it to be odd, so actually the front tends to be articulate. Yeah, see the cab is on there. Let's actually go up here. Let's stick the hinge right here. So let's go bottom hinge. If I put it here, I need enough room for the cab. That should be good there. And what I'll do here is I'll cut this like that, paste that. This is going to go. All right, and then so I need to, so this is going to be the main section. This is going to be not the main section. So we need to cut this here. Cut, paste. And then this will get merged to that, and this will get merged to that. So now we have a hinge to articulate. And then we'll have pistons on there just for show, but that's going to be that. And then if you look, we have fluid, and we have power. So power is what we care about. So the motor is going to be here. This will pass through and give us power. And so I want kind of a visible drive shaft like that. And so that will be underneath there. So that's kind of our articulation there. And so kind of concerned about this back wheelbase being too far back. So let's cut this and just roll it forward just 1, 2 maybe. Starting to cut into the wheelbase here a little bit, but let me just check the realistic wheelbase. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect to the reference material, but what's wheelbase? Wheelbase 10.83. Let's see. I got rid of my conversion. So let's say 11. So we're talking 3.35 meters from axle to axle. What are we looking at here? 4. Perfect. So that's actually pretty good. And then we'll have counterweight hang off the back. I could actually go in one more. Let's go in one more. Okay. And if the wheels seem too big at some point, I can always shrink them up. But look pretty good. So that's kind of the wheel frame of this. So let's go ahead and let's... Arm can stick over, so I don't really need this anymore. This is, again, just to get the scaling so that it looks proportionally correct. Plenty of space to put a motor in here. Plenty of space to put a cab. The cab often hangs over the hinge, and then the wheels articulate around the cab, and the cab is kind of curved, so that's pretty good. And then this front section here is where the armature's mounted for the arm controls. So that is our frame. Looks pretty good. We have a space to climb up. The wheels aren't bad sized. Pretty good actually. All right, so that's good. Making some steady progress on this, I think. All right, so let's. I'm gonna keep bringing up reference materials here. Let's see if I can find all my windows here. All right, so bring the wheel loaders back up, and I'll kind of give them a look. All right, so I want the dimensions of that loader, but I'm kind of looking for a more square loader. I like the kind of the design of the square loaders better than the kind of really well-rounded. Kind of like the John Deere's. You know, they're flat and then they have a small little curve in the back. It's going to be my pet brand, so I kind of want... See, like I don't like on the Cat how it has that slope the entire way. I don't like that. It's too rounded for me. I kind of like a square looking loader. Let's see if I can find one that I really like to kind of make that my model to kind of... See, like this one's nice and squared off here. Kind of like this. This one's really beefy. It also seems like it has that short wheelbase, so kind of make that my reference material there. And that'll kind of be what I'm going to look at for just general detailing. So I kind of like that. All right, so let's start working on the back here. So I'm going to start by putting a bumper on. And then I'm trying to look. Yeah, a lot of them have the bumper wrap all the way behind the wheels. Okay, and then I want wedge. A lot of them tend to have like a slope in case you were to scrape that on the ground behind you. You don't want it to hang. And so... And that's going to come out one too. I need to square it up at the other side, so... Is that all of it? That's all of it. Okay, I'm not off, am I? I don't think so. Alright, so let's build up this bumper. This is going to be a counterweight. Counterweight's going to be in the back. That's going to make it so that the bucket doesn't tip us. So we'll build this up and fill it with weight. Probably end up being battle cannon pieces just because I want, a lot of mass back there. And battle cannon pieces are your best mass for size. You can get, I think, 30 weight out of 40 weight out of a 3, where a 3 weight blocks is 30 weight. So you can actually get an extra 10 weight. Let's not do that yet. I think the issue, though, is battle cannon pieces are a little bit more expensive. Okay, so let's do battle cannon. They're a little bit on the pricey side, but I can always cut them out if they're... Why is this not... Oh, because I'm in the wall. Okay, is that the wrong one? What's that way? 40. That 40, that's 40. So I'm just trying to tack some weight in the back here. Okay, there we go. That's being weird. Alright, so there, what's that? What I have in there? 8. It's 1200 weight right there. Finish it off with a couple weight blocks in here, and then I can go underneath here where nobody's going to see probably, and we'll tack some weight blocks in there. What is this? Okay, so that. And if it shows too much, I can always kind of hide it, but not too bad there. So that's kind of my back bumper slash counterweight. I need to get up above the wheels at some point. So then the actual engine enclosure goes inside of that. So I'm trying to find... that model number of the one I just looked at here. So I can get all sides of it. So this one looks like a toy almost. I think it is a toy. No, it's an actual vehicle because they're selling it for $35,000. Okay, I'm just kind of looking at how this is, and then I'm gonna. So then I kind of want to build up the engine compartment here. So let's build in here and let's see. Okay, so we have a gap between the tires. That's fine. I'm going to kind of make a square box, and then I will trim it as how it needs to be. So that's way too tall, but probably tall by 1 block. Probably there. Okay, and so get out of there. All right, so that is going to be the engine compartment. I'll probably actually cut it back 1. I think like that's better. Have more hangover from the counterweight. And then it has a little bit of a slope, and then kind of an edge treatment. So let's go like this. Let's grab 2x, like so. Because, you know, IRL they can do really small little facets. We can't do that in game. We kind of, the sharp edges are very sharp and abrupt. So there we go. That's kind of the back engine compartment there. And then shouldn't need an insane amount of power on this. You know, it's going to be very low geared. I don't need this to be fast. I need it to be functional. So I'm just kind of setting this up to... Alright, so there is air and exhaust. Should have plenty of room, more than enough room to stick all this in here, so. Yep, symmetry's off, of course. Alright, so there we go. Kind of boxing that out. So that's kind of our engine bay there. What is... This needs to be attached here. Alright, so that is the engine bay kind of coming together. So the cab should go somewhere in here. I'm trying to think if I want to thin this out by 1. I don't think it's too bad. Let's see if I can't put in some sort of recess here for the wheels. If I'm going to thin it out by 1 anyways, I might as well put a recess in for the wheels. So kind of recess this here a little bit. So let's go to pyramids, see if I can make this look all right. So I'm trying to recess it a little bit so that it kind of has a give for the engine, for the wheels here. Yeah, like that. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad there. Let's try to do... Can't really see the other side, so I'm kind of conceptualizing it from the inside. It's a little weird. Needs to definitely come over to the center of the wheel, so I need one more set of blocks there. Just kind of putting in a little bit of a recess because that's right on top of the wheel, so it looks a little funky having a big square spot right in front of the wheel. So like that. Yeah. I don't know if that's necessarily necessary, but try this really quick. I'm just kind of seeing how I like this look. Maybe a 4x4 could be better. That's not bad there. And then stick one here. A little bit of a recess there. That's not a bad recess there. Let's try... Again, I'm kind of getting into decorating a little bit earlier on this one than I normally would. Yeah, see, that looks very... Let's just do wedge pieces here. There we go. I think like that looks pretty good. Might actually... Wedge pieces are working in our favor here, so let's kind of... Let's go to here, and then I want to take a... I think a 2x4. So just trying to get some shaping done here, because I was gonna... If that was that close to the wheels, I was gonna think about, you know, pushing it in one. This way, if I can get the facet set in right, I don't need to push it in one. And so that's why I did this now. Alright, so that looks good. That kind of sculpts around the wheels a little bit better, and I don't have to thin it out. So that's good. Let's block this off, and then I probably need all that space for a cab. I can put a plenty big engine in here, so let's go ahead and close off the engine compartment. And then we're going to go right in. So let's set this on the ground to make sure it's on the ground. And then what's my height? My height's 11.17 feet. So I'll say 12 feet. We're talking 3.6 meters. So I'll do a pinky block for a measurement here. So I want to go... So this is about where my... It's about where my cab is going to go. And so I will measure. So we want about 3.75, 3.65, 3.75, probably going to be 3.75, tend to have to scale up in game. So wow, that's low. This is going to be a little bit taller than it probably needs to be. So let's go. So it matches the, okay, so let's do it this way. Remember, it matches the exhaust height. So our exhaust is not very high, so let's undo all that crapola. And so let's figure this needs to be about, oh, I don't know, here for the cab. probably about, let's say, there for the cab. So we'll go, what's that, one block over the exhaust? Yeah, so let's say that's where I want this. So let's say that is going to be our cab height. We don't need it to stick too far over the back because you're just looking out the back window to reverse. I'll probably put a camera anyway, and then the front is where your visibility is really high. All right, and then so I want to, we'll take this, and we'll finish this off here, like so, kind of wrapping around the front of the tire. And then we'll go like that and zit. There we go. And this will extend the engine bay some more. Give me more space, plus we're good for cab. So right here we can stand between the wheels and go up the ladder to get into the cab, so that's good. So I'm just going to go back to my reference material. And so then you tend to have your step out. And so what I'll do here is I'll build my step. So it tends to be, I think our wheels are a hair on the large size. Yeah, let's downgrade these. I had them as standards. Okay, this side was good. So that does look better, I think. Let's look. That looks good. Downsize the tires a little bit. That looks pretty good. That looks more proportional. Like I'm looking at the reference photo, my tires were enormous. So the step is like one above the tires is where they are. And so I'm probably going to put the step just on the driver's side and then a fuel tank on the... I'm trying to see if any of these have dual... Do they all have dual ladders? That's the question. Yeah, it looks like most of them are having dual ladders, so that's actually not bad. I can do some symmetry on that. So they're starting at the top. So we kind of have a platform that goes out to the edge of the wheels. And this way, because you don't want to step down in between the wheels, that's a good way to get run over. So this could be a problem with launching this from the train hangar because you have your steps there. But at the moment, I don't really care. So hopefully, I can transport this from somewhere else. And then often these are your fuel tanks here. So that's about as low as I want to go. I don't want to cut out my ground clearance. You do have to usually step up on these pretty high. All right, there is my ladders, and then I want to come behind this, and this will be my fuel tanks. So I'm just gonna kind of box this out a little bit. And then so like the one I'm looking at has a nice rounded, it rounds and then it goes in. The nice thing about building construction vehicles is they don't need to be overly rounded and, aesthetically pleasing. They're all about function. They don't need to be super form. They can be really functional. Was that one? Oh, beautiful. That's fours. So these are gonna end up being my fuel tanks. So I'm gonna put wedges in just to increase capacity a little bit. That just kind of screwed me there. Let's just do that for now, and then this is gonna be the base here. So these will be fuel tanks. I'll end up putting in some wedges to make them so that they can have larger capacity, but that's not a right now problem. That's a later problem. I could test let me test the capacities really quick anyways. Actually, I don't need a spawner. I just need a meter in there. This won't need a ton of fuel. Sitting there idling, this sort of thing does not use a lot. See how it's sitting on its back? That's what we want, because we're going to have bucket hanging off the front and then potentially bucket filled. Then we put in the cab, so we're adding, all our weight goes to the front now. I hooked that up to the wrong node, I bet. I hooked it up to fuel level, not capacity. Yep. Alright, so I'm just checking the capacity of these two fuel tanks, just for the giggles. Yeah, so that's 125 liters, so that will probably be maybe quadruple that, because this is going to be half blocks, this is going to be half blocks, the back wall is going to be half blocks, so say 4 times that, so 400, 800 liters. Yeah, so that's going to be pretty good. That would be like 100 something gallons. That's pretty good. All right, good. Making progress on this loader. All right, so here are 2 staircases, and so I need railings. And then some of them have step-ups to the back. I don't really want or need that, I don't think. Could be kind of cool, like to put a... Like they have step-ups here, but which kind of almost makes a little bit of a fender, but I don't know. I don't need that really. Yeah, the other thing, it's only 3 wide. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Let's do railing. So I want railing end pieces. There we go. And then I need enough swing to get into there. So what I think I'm going to do is, the cab doesn't need to be absolutely a monstrosity inside. It can be kind of reasonable sized. Oh, come on. Just behave, please. Thank you. Okay, so that's kind of the cab door right there. And then it's going to pivot. I need a 3-door to get in. So geometry, let's see. Let's try... Just checking out my railing stuff and trying to figure out how to set these railings up so that they work for me. And I need to think of the door swing. So instead of going right to testing the door swing, I'm going to kind of anticipate some of my problems and get this done, because I want doors with some I want doors with windows in them so I can see out. All right, there, like that. And then let's go railings. See, actually, let's go down one like so, and then let's just use end pieces here and here. So I'm just trying to decide how these are going to look at the end. Like so. Like so. Alright, so they are kind of my 2 platforms, and then I'm starting to get my cab figured here. I have to worry about this front axle might have to come up a little bit. Actually, you know what? The problem is the hinge is too far back, I think. If I move the hinge up, it should be able to articulate. Because the further back that is, the tire is going to hit here. So that should probably come to here anyway. Let's go to there. Yeah, these tires I think are going to have to move forward. Worst case, I could make it a non-articulating loader, and then again, things often swell in size in Stormworks just because of the way it has to be. So let's do an articulation test here in a second. Kind of get that, nip that in the bud before it becomes a problem. Alright, so like right there, let's stick a seat in. Yeah, we're getting close on time. We'll finish up here in a second. But yeah, I definitely want to get this going where we're making good progress, and I think we're doing it. This is coming together pretty quickly. All right, let's kind of check. Ooh, he didn't merge. What didn't I merge here? Okay, so let's do this too, weight block. And so I'm just going to stick some weight on here. You know, eventually, you know, this will be replaced with bucket weight and everything else, but just kind of sticking some weight on there, see how it behaves. All right, so that sits better. Starting to come along nicely. So go up and in. It's backwards, so I want to make sure see, I can limit it. That's actually pretty good steer right there. That's a good angle there. See, part of the problem is I wonder if, I can't tell. I don't think, yeah, the tires are all on the same. Let me move that hinge point. That hinge point, I could have it exactly backwards on where I want my hinge point. I think I might have the hinge point backwards. Let's move it this way. I can't have that. I need to delete that. Let's try this. And then I want to make the sticky, and I want to cut the sensitivity down. %'s way too slow. I think I had it on 10, maybe 5, I think is going to be better. Do 6. Just testing anyways. Anyway, this is coming along well, I think. Yeah, it's better. Yeah, so I had it backwards. I needed the articulation point back. I also did move the axle up a little bit, but so right there is about our limitation. That should give us a pretty good turning circle. Let me see if I can't move that back even more. Let's go 2 back. I always click on the wrong thing when I'm merging. Alright, there we go. Let's try this one now. Because I'd like to ideally get these tires pushed back a little bit. So that's a nice tight turn there. That's going to be articulated loaders can turn really tight. So that's a pretty good turn there. Let's do this. Just for now. It's always good to have a little test go here and then see what's up. I need to make sure the orientation of my tires is all correct here. Forwards, that's good. Let's go WS. WS to the motors, bang, bang. And I want to go to lock. That's about max lock there. Yeah, that's pretty good steer rate. That's not bad. One thing I could do to trick this too is, let's try this really quick. Let's do this. I'm trying to think. Let's try this really quick. This might not work, but I kind of want to see. I don't think this will work. I want it back to where they were. So I kind of have a trick I'm thinking about because I want to keep this wheelbase pretty accurate and short. I don't want to push the front wheels out. I can move these staircases a little bit. Okay, so yeah, see, I really cut down my steer angle there. Like, I probably want about there. So let's test that. That's good there. Yeah, see, I just have, so I have a trick that I'm going to do, but I want to move that back out. Let's move it out 1. Yeah, let's move it out 1. And then this is what I'll do is I'm going to cheat in a little bit of steering off the actual wheels themselves. And then that should get me a little bit more steer angle. So let's start by, and we'll finish up with this. I'll start by setting the wheel angle. So right there is max turn. Let's check it. Okay, so where's the hinge? Rotation is 0.21. Actually, let's do this. I want to pull it off a dial because I'm going to be taking its reading, and sometimes it doesn't want to read properly. So right here is the current rotation. So I'm going to read that, and I want to see what it's actually reading, because sometimes you don't know which one of those numbers you're going to get. So let's go to lock. It's right about there. It's going to be my max lock. So it's reading the other number. So 0.05. So lock is 0.05, and then if I go 0.05, can I go to 6? 6 is, let's go to 6. That'll give me more space. 0.06. Okay. So once it does that, I might kick in some steering. A little bit on the back, a little bit in the front. Just a little cheeky steering. So let's try it. Let's make a very quick slapdash microcontroller. Alright. So this is going to be kind of a little bit of a tricky here to make the steering work for us. So I want a number input that's from the hinge. Alright, and then I want number output to rear steer. And then a number output to front steer. And then I want a composite for my seat. Output, output, input. Good. So now what I'm going to do really quickly is here, AD is 1. So we need to read number 1. All right, then we want to clamp that. Let's go, I don't know, clamp that to negative 0.1. 0.1. All right, so if the hinge is greater than 5, no. If the hinge is not, so it has to go. Okay, if the hinge is, where's threshold? Okay, so it'd be negative 0.05 to 0.05. So if it's outside of this range, I want to allow this. So do switch boxes here. All right, so switch boxes here. So like that. This goes here. So this is going to allow me to get a little bit of steering when off the wheels themselves when it reaches max articulation. That still lets me have a articulated loader. I could push the staircase back a little bit, but if we had 2 wide stairs, that would work. I could push it back 1. Not the end of the world to do that either. But let's kind of play with this microcontroller, see how I like it. So let's go ahead and connect up the composite on the seat. Let's go ahead and, so I need to check the the steer on these. So see, they're going to be all screwed up. So let's do this. Let's check them out. Let's see. Okay, so let's go AD. Where's AD? AD. Steering. So I need to see which ones are inverted and which ones are correct because I did symmetries. So, all right. So we want to make a left turn here. So, all right. So in order to make a left turn, my back left is correct. My front, so my diagonals. So my back left is good. My front right is good, and then the other two are inverted. Okay, so let me see if I can just grab these and fix them. Let's see, cut, where's cut? See, it screws everything up. I hate it how it does that. Yeah, these are always a mess to fix. Okay, so this one turns that way. That one should turn the opposite direction. These I always can't figure out. So that's the right direction there. That is going to turn. That one turns out. This one turns in. Maybe this. I always struggle getting these right. That's when I end up just like saying screw it and fix it with a microcontroller. So let's test them here. There we go. That fixed that one. So let me see if these are correct. So the front two are steering in the right direction. They're going to steer more in. The back is coming in as well. That last one is the last one I have. So again, the only thing I need to make sure is these arrows are pointing the right direction. They are. So this is kind of what I need is flip it upside down. So right now this tire wants to come out. I need that tire to come in. So let's go ahead and come on, yes. Is that all merged? It should be merged. Yeah, it's got to be merged. Okay, so this I want to go forward, and then this one I need it to tire needs to turn in. So forward and in is the name of the game here. Now this is going to be a problem. Okay. Pain, suffering. Okay. Just put this over here for now. Okay. So this one needs to be, tire needs to come in and forward. Okay, so let's cut it. Okay, that definitely don't need that one. So let's see. Tire now goes out and backwards. So let's go I. No, let's go O. So tire now goes forward and it goes in. That's the one we want. Okay, let's move that in. That can be merged back. All right, so this should fix it. Fix the so what this will do is 0.1 is definitely too large of a turn, but we can fix that in a second here. All right, let's cut this. Where are we going here? All right, cut that. Let's slide that back in. All right, there we go. And so I'll fix the thing in a second here, but that's good. Let me add to this. I need to add hinge to this because I need to put a clamp on there. All right, so the hinge is going to be there, and then I want to go, so this is going to go there. We put a clamp on this, CV. It goes there. This will go to negative 0.06, and this will go to 0.06, and then this is definitely too high here, so let's just do 0.05. Try that for now. See how that works. And then, so I need to now take rear steer here. Rear steer goes to my rears there. And then, oh, that's brakes. Because this one's, is that steering? Yeah, that's brakes. So this one goes to rear steer. This is going to be to the hinge. This is going to go to the front steering. Steering there. And then this is the hinge itself. Current rotation. That's still connected. That is. Okay, so let's test this out. And so what this is going to allow us to do is when we get to max hinge articulation, it will start adding a little wheel, and we should be able to really notice it. So, okay. That's when it's annoying, is it reads the wrong friggin' number, man. I hate it when it does that, man. It's a pain. Yeah, it's a pain because it's the other number. It reads one number, and then it reads, it uses the other numbers. There are two numbers on the hinge here. You can see rotation and current. And one of them I can read, and the other one is what I input, and so it screws it all up. So it makes it... Okay, so see how they start to turn then? So right there. So it's the other number, apparently. So pain and suffering. So it's the 0.21 number. So, of course, so 0.21. So it's just reading the other number. It's just a pain. Negative 0.21. Let's do 215 here. And this one's 215, 215. All right, let's try this. Yeah, I hate how it does that. It reads one, and then, so you have to kind of do a conversion. It's just really annoying. See how it does that? It snaps them. That should give us tighter turning when we get to max articulation. That'll probably increase that some more. Yep, just increase that some more. Where's my hinge rate here? Right here. Let's go ones on here. Can also move my steps back a little bit to get more space. See how tight I can get this turn. That's pretty good there. That's pretty much in the money. If I can turn this, see, I can turn this in about, I don't know, half of, look how tight this turns now. So that's beautiful. That gives me a good turn. This makes this usable. There we go. I'd like to get rid of that if I can just get more articulation, and I might change the step a little bit, push the step back one. Might do that as well, but I don't dislike it. It's not bad. And then, really quick before I get out of here, let's do this. So, what I want to do here is off of this channel 1. Let's go ahead and do an up-down counter. So 0.22 is our max. So let's go here to negative point 2, 2, that's fine. And then I think it was 0.215. Let's just make it 215. Instead of being lazy, I'll do it right. Point 001, enabled, reset value. And so I'm going to make this the old plus 1, minus 1 off the seat. That just makes it always work better. Because right now I can go, I don't have an internal clamp on the seat. And so what happens is it takes me some time to get the steering to come back. This way it makes it still instant. And I put these backwards for some reason, so I need to flip them. And then so that goes like that. Then this feeds, and so this will give me better steering here. Okay, so let's try this. I think we'll finish up. So this was some really good progress. This came together pretty quick. So we have ourselves a... Oh, that's why. I didn't change the seat. I need to configure the seat. So the seat is now reset 100%. Okay. Why it's steering me, I don't know. I know why. Okay. So that is, that's 1, negative 1. Let's try that. All right, so that fixed that. You see it's not trying to steer itself anymore. Okay. So this is going to be much smoother and quicker response. Oh, when it went to 0, okay, that's not going to work. When I let go, it's going to center it hard. I don't want that. You fix that then. I don't know why it was... I don't know why it's steering itself. This is why right here. Okay. This should be negative 1. This should be 1, 1. This should be negative 1. There we go. That's what happened, was it was screwing that up. There we go. And then it's important to be able to leave this as sticky, and the reason is, say that I want to bucket this into the back of a truck. So, okay, that's just too slow. So again, if you want the steering to respond more quickly, what you do is you come in here and you change your increment. So we could change that, let's say 5 times more responsive. And then that's now 5 times faster on the steering. So that's, you see how we have faster steering now? And so let's say the reason you want articulation, let's say that we're coming up against the wall here. Let's say we're in a tight spot, right? And we're coming up and we need to steer into the dump truck. And right here we have the bucket right over the dump truck. So I want to keep that articulated. If I straightened out, we'd be dumping all over the ground. I need to keep the articulation so that I can dump on top of the dump, so I don't dump on top of the dump truck. Let me fix my steering and then we're done. These build videos take a little bit of time just because I tend to really want to get into them. All right, so we only need a half a staircase. Our character actually operates quite well in the world, 2 blocks wide. Let's do this. Let's do this. Paste that. Instead of me screwing around too much, we have plenty of space in the back. Let me show you what I mean. See, we have plenty of wheel clearance here. This can move back 1. So instead of redoing all of the staircase, I need to move that and that. Let's go and like there. All right, so we're going to take this, we're going to cut this, and we're going to move that back 1. And of course, you're going to interact with the tire. That's fine. Let's paste it. Let's cut out. I think the bottom 3 need to go. That's fine there. I can make an accommodation for that. So let's just cut that out for now. Let's go and we'll cut this. And that's gonna, ooh, this is, I can't have it interact with that. That's fine. I can cut some more. That's not a big deal. This is okay to just cut out all this stuff, and there we go. Take 4. Cut. Still touching, huh? What's in the way? This one right here. All right. Just need to cut out what I need to cut out here. So this right here needs to go. That should hopefully slot in now. There we go. That is fine there. I can fix that. All right, and then this here can go, what I can actually do is just increase the platform size, like so. I could even do fenders on this. The fender actually wouldn't be too offensive to me. Let's fend it while I'm here. A little tight on time anyway, but let's try something real quick. See how I like it. No, I don't think. See, I'm going to interact with my tires, so that's fine. I could do something like that, probably. Nope. Yeah, so I don't really care about fenders anyways. I can do something like this, but I don't care. So that's not getting done anyway. No fenders anyway. So that works out nicely. And then, so what I'm going to do here is, okay, that came out nice. So let's go ahead and, so that can go, just get in here and do it. And then see, under here, we have plenty of space. I can extend the fuel tanks in to be as big as I want, so we have plenty of fuel. So let's go ahead and grab this. We will copy that. Nope. Let's go drag this all the way to the front, like so. Let's copy this. And let's try to just plant it in here. We're going to have to do some deletion, but I just don't want to kill the wheels is what I want to do. All right, so that's good. Let's cut this. Let's cut this, this. And see, leaving it gray right now, it lets me know what I need to delete out. So like that needs to go. All that needs to go. So that's a pretty good swap out there. All right, so see how much more space we have now? So I should be able to cut these. Let's just uninhibit the clamp for now. So let's go ahead and let's detach these steers. I might be able to get it where I don't have to use those steers. That's kind of what I would like. Let's just do clamp of -1, +1. Yep. And let's see what we're working with here. Because ideally, if I can get rid of doing the wheel steers, so that's nice and tight now. Let's see what my turning circle looks like now. There we go. So that's proper. Little bit. I think it wants a little bit of wheel steer anyways. So oh crap! I just screwed myself there. So let's see. Let's push the hinge back one too. Let's push this hinge back one slot. See if I can't increase my steer angle even more. I want to get max steer angle, and then see all this in here. This gets filled with all the articulation, all the parts that hold the bucket. So I want a good bit of space there to be able to do that. So I want to get this right on that staircase and see where we're at first. So that's the big number, 30.3. Okay, and let's do a quick little steer. So that's 0.3. I bet too, part of it I think is tire slip. The tires are slipping. If I, when I XML edit the grip, because this is going to be heavy, it's going to need XML edited grip to be able to operate. But this is turning really well right now. I might not. I'm not gonna reattach the rear steer. So 0.3 is my new clamp number. That also takes some of the complexity out of this. So negative 0.3 and 3. All right, so that is now our new steering. So we'll do a quick little recap here. Let me save this before so let's save it as loader. And let's save loader backup. That way I have 2 copies. All right, so do a quick little recap here. So we've got our loader in, most of the loader done. So essentially the rear section of the loader is complete. I need to finish the cab. Cab will be easy. Put it in. It'll be about that tall. I have a lot of glass in the front to see. Need to do the bucket control mechanisms here. Maybe just really quickly check the width. So we want about, that's a 14, 15. That's 15. Our bucket is 15 wide, so our bucket fills the wheels perfectly. Might want to beef the bucket by 1 wider. The buckets are often, no, buckets are often a little bit wider than the loader. And so this is going to be nice and beefy. What are we weighing at? It actually doesn't weigh that much right now. So we're gonna, probably end up packing some mass into the back here. But this is coming along really well. I'm happy with this. Of course, need to put an engine in. So I'm going to rip an engine off of something, and that should make it work really well. And yeah, so this should be a fun build. Get this in. This will be our loader. We have the excavator. We have plenty of dump trucks already, and we'll probably add a mining dump truck at some point. But this, I think, is getting us really set up for industrial frontier. So this hopefully can get 3 hours. Hopefully I can get this done. I thought the excavator would be quicker, but the excavator is, I think, a lot more complicated. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.